Fine. So in the last session, just we gone through these points. So finding all the way we can find the roles, how we can review the role related information, comparing one role with other role, and how to copy and modify the role. That could be job role or duty role. Now we'll see how to create the role from the scratch. Okay. So first we'll see how to create the duty role. Okay, how to create the duty role. But as a normal practice, what we do is we copy the role. So what similar privileges we want to provision to the user as per user requirement, we modify. If any functions required, privileges required into that, we generally add it. If not required, we remove it. But just for our understanding information purpose, just we'll see how that is easy or difficult to create the custom role from the scratch without using the copy functionality. Fine. So navigate to security console. Click on more. Click on security console. So to create the new role, you can click on compare role. Okay. Sorry. New role, right? We are talking about create role. So here we can provide the role name. Say Google. Just I'm writing as a custom accounts payables manager, or just we can write as a Google AP manager. You could provide the code also, Google AP manager. And which role we want to create, job role or duty role, that we have to select here. So if you are going to create the job role, you can select job role. If it is a duty role we can select. So here we have a role category, financials. Say we want to create the job role, financials job roles. Here you can provide the description. Okay. Role allows users to create invoices and payments. You can write the detailed description. Click on next. Okay. Functional security policies. So here we can add the functional security policies, which privileges we want to give it to this role. So we can add two duty roles into this. So payables invoice creation duty. Okay, duty role. Payables invoice creation duty. Just select it. Click on search. You can go with this one. So select and add. Just click on search. Yes, added. So within this duty role, what are the privileges we have all system added in the background? You could see that. Fine. So we are creating the role called as job role as a AP manager. So for AP manager, we added one duty role called as, we assigned duty role called as in payables invoice creation duty. Along with that, we can assign payables payment creation duty role. Payables payment creation. So that you can just select and Click on search again, say assign. Okay, which role code is ending with OBA, that you can select. Okay, that is the other clue. So we assign two duty roles to this job role. Done. Now click on next. So here we have to connect this job role with different data security policies. Nothing but this role require access to primary ledgers or business unit. Those specifications we have to provide here more detailed level. Just to compare and understand, I'll just take you through the seeded role. We'll just go to the seeded role. Just we'll go to open, and you can understand within the seeded role how we have a data security policies. Navigate to security console. Can search for accounts payable manager. So you can select any one of the payable related job role, because we are creating the job role with a reference purpose for understanding. You can take it. Just go to actions. You can say edit or copy. Anyway, we are not going to do any changes. We can go with edit. So here the same way we given the information. Click on next. So here they didn't add any functional security policies. That means if not here, we can add under role hierarchy also. Fine. Go to next. Here you can see the data security policies. So these are the data security policies they added for this role to have access to business units. Grant on ledger, grant on business unit. So this is how just we have to add the data security policies. This will become just big task for us. Normally if you copy this, all will be copied. We can just add what are the privileges the user required. Okay, you may just include the job role within this job role, or you can include the duty role within the duty role. So just for our understanding, I'll just take you through that, how to create the data security policies. The policy name is, say, BU access. This role required BU access, right? And search, say, business units. Okay, select database resource as a business unit. Okay, selected business unit. Now here data set. So we are trying to connect this role with a database resource called as business unit. Here you have to select the data set related to business unit. Say you want to limit within the role definition itself, you want to limit this business unit. Okay, sorry, this role Google AP Manager, you want to map directly with the specific business unit, what you can do is you can go with a data set selected by key. See here you have a BUID. You can provide the BUID so that whenever you assign this role to any user, that directly will get connected to that business unit. You don't need to do that. I mean, as a part of mapping activity, we do it. Okay, but still it will directly it will be connected. This role will be mapped with the specific BU here itself. If you want to do that, what you can do is you can take the BU name, BUID. So how to find the BUID, we'll see. That means role definition itself, you are just deciding this role can have access to which business unit. That's all. But normally we don't create in by selecting that option. We'll create it and we'll make it open. So we want to associate which business unit to that role. We'll keep that flexibility where we can assign the BU to the custom role by using the data access for users. So just we'll go and check it how to find the BUID. Go to manage business unit task. Manage business unit. Find our business unit. Google. Now see here, you could notice columns hidden one. So here few columns system is displaying name, BU name, the active, yes or no, selected or not, location, manager. So even we have a location for our BU, it is not displaying, that won't become issue. Now what we have to do is go to view, columns. So business unit ID is hidden, just select it. Select business unit ID for to display here. So this is a BU ID. This ID you have to enter in the role definition if you want to map. Okay, if you want to just hard code that BU ID with a specific role. Here the BU ID is 3000000 and 166 939. Sorry.
Is it organization ID?
A business unit means, see, what when you refer in EBS, we have it two IDs. Organization ID means it's all about inventory organization ID. Org ID means operating unit ID in EBS, same applicable in the fusion. Org
I mean
ID,
org ID, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, org
ID,
ID.
BU ID, yes.
Okay.
Yep. So 9,
Okay.
yeah, 939293. Done. So now this ID you can just map with that role so that this role will get connected to this BU only. Done. So data set here as actions, any one of the action you can provide. Anyway, within the functional security policies, you are specifying this role can have access to which privileges. So as a part of this definition, they made it as a mandatory to select action. So, but think what are the action you are going to select that won't have any great impact on this role functionality, how it will be functioning. So just you can select any one of the action, okay, any one of the action and you can save it. any one of the action you can select. Since we are going to select any one of the action, better you can select the relevant action. Since we are creating this role related to payables, you can select some invoice or payment related function here. Any one you can select and you can proceed. So invoice related, you can select it, but it won't make any difference even if you select the different action here. Sorry, it got disconnected. Somehow hope you can hear me now. Fine. So here I am going to select one of the action called as manage payable invoices, but it's not mandatory you should select the same. You can select any one of the action. Just since they made it as a mandatory, you should select it. That's it. Done. So you may write the policy description here. Okay, you can write some description if you want to write. So this is how you can create. You can save it. That's how this role will get connected to BU, that to specific to this BU only. And we have a different options here. Okay, so you can select all values or select by instance set. Okay, just go with the select by instance set. It will open the conditions, which condition like you want to allow for any BU or authorized BUs. So normally we use the value called as access the business units, the table name where the BU's information will be stored. On all business units V for the business units which you are authorized. This is one this condition name you can select so that system will allow you to access the business units which BUs are associated with this role. And action you can select any one of the action. Okay, so this is how just you can give the data set and all values. Okay, all values. You don't need to specify how many BUs you have in the, what I can say, within the table, BU related table. All values can be accessed, okay, without any restrictions. So but still we have to do the data mapping. Okay, but if you are going to create the custom roles, normally we use this option. You can say access business units from this table for the business units which you are authorized. Okay, this value you can select and say okay. So that's how just the rest of values also just you can add here, but all are not mandatory. We don't need to, how many you could see here, all you don't need to assign. If you just assign the grant business, they written as a policy name as a grant on business unit, we written the policy name as a BU access. That's it. So it's all about this condition is important. That's how just you can refer this. So how many they given, the same you can write. Just you can give the grant access to ledger also, because when you're recording the transaction, the payables, yes, ledger access also required to enter the debit credits, code combinations, currency information, calendar information. So that's how this. So data resource name you can select ledger for a table, real ledgers, and the condition is what you can refer, and you can just select. So that's how you can create the altogether custom data duty role. So we are creating the data role that already we selected duty roles into this data role, that you can say next. See here the users. So when you talk about, okay, we just selected the other one, fine. This is the one which we are creating, right? Yeah, click on next. So here also you can just do the mapping with the user. If you want to assign to the user, directly you can assign to our user from here itself. Our username is Google. Then say add to role. Then say next. Say save and close. So when you just find that requirement out, definitely we have to do in every project, right? So when you want to do the custom role definition, better you can copy the seeded one that you can modify. That's how we can simplify our work.
Lakshmi, what is the role hierarchy?
Role hierarchy is nothing but you can just group multiple roles into that one role. That is called as role hierarchy. It's not reality hierarchy. It's grouping. You can add multiple roles into one role. See, we created a job role, right? Within the job role, you can add another job role, or else within the job role, you can add another duty roles. Or else, when you are creating the duty role, also you can find that role hierarchy. Within the duty role, also you can add the job roles. I think in the last session, just I taken through that point how you can add the roles with under function called as role hierarchy. It's all about grouping. You can group it. That they just named it as a hierarchy. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Reality, there is no option to specify which should come under what. No. So this is how just you can make a copy of role, or you can create from the scratch. If you want to create the role as a duty role, what you could do is just you can provide here say Google tables invoice duty. So it's a code, right? Okay. Google AP invoice and role category. You have to select as duty role. Invoice. Click on next. So invoice duty role. So if you think like the same one, same whatever the seeded one is, as per your business user requirement, the duty role, whatever Oracle is providing for payable invoice duty role. So the same, if you think you cannot associate, that is not enough. That is not meeting as per business requirement. You can add one by one functions, or else what you can do is we are creating the duty role, but still you can add the duty role here. What are the privileges will be getting, those few you can remove. Okay, how you want to just how you finally you want to create the duty role, that you can achieve by adding the existing duty role and just removing few of the functions after adding here, or else one by one you can add into this. Or else you want to give to this user payables invoice inquiry only. Okay, you want to give the access to payables invoice inquiry privilege. Search, select, say add. Once again, search. One second. Payables invoice inquiry duty. Add. So in the background you could see view payable invoice. Okay, allows viewing the Oracle Fusion payable invoice without performing a search. Directly it will allow you to view. So this in the same way, let's say like we want to give the access to few reports. Submit payables related. Any report you can select. So if we want to allow that user to have access to submit payable invoice registered. Just click on search. This one you can select. PRIV, just a suffix that you can select. That will be added automatically. Done. So this is our just now we given the two privileges. One is to have access to invoices to where the existing invoices user can see. The second one is report access we given. This is how you can list out, or else you can add the payables invoice duty into that, and a few privileges you can delete. Okay, just you can select. So this is how you can select and you can delete if the duty is going to add multiple privileges here for the role. Then you can go to next. Here you can add the functional security policies primarily for business unit. Whatever just now we added, same way you can add it. Rest of process remains same. So go next. If you want to assign to user from here, you can assign, or else you can save and close. You can assign from the standard
Lakshman?
if you follow. Yeah.
Yeah. If I add more than one business unit, where will the switch option be at the responsibility level or the role level?
No. In the invoice creation page itself, you can switch it. LOV. So that's what we did, right? In our classes, what we did is we have access to multiple BUs because of common reference data set, common reference set. And we set one as a default, right? So you go to invoice workbench, create invoice. So in EBS also same, right? In EBS also, if you have access to multiple operating units from single responsibility, so you can navigate to the invoice workbench window there by just accessing that BU operating unit name field. You can change the operating unit. One you can set as default. Here also we set our BU as a default, and we have many BUs. You can switch from here on. Okay, you can switch to ERP tree, business unit, and you can select supplier and rest. Fine. So this is how just you can go through that role related information, and you can copy and modify, or else you can create from scratch. and rest of process remains same. You have to assign to user, and we have to go and provide the data access for user submit role synchronization, nothing but LDAP. But when you deal with the custom roles, when you submit this LDAP job, it may take more time because normal seeded roles which Oracle provided, those roles may not require, it may not take much time for synchronization. When you create the new custom role, or you make, just say you copied and modified, or you modified that role you assign to the user to the same role you assigned your business unit, or if role is related to GL primary ledger, and if you submit for LDAP and it takes some time, immediately it won't synchronize. Since the role is a new role, it has to be thoroughly validated in the process of LDAP directories. So when you create the custom role, if it is not impacting immediately, just wait for some time, you can see expected results. So that's how we have to deal with the roles. And here, apart from that, the next topic here we have as a create, we're done with that. So invoice approval configuration and testing, fine. So in this environment, we never tested invoice approvals, but what I'll do is I'll take you through the, sorry,
I have a quick question, Lakshman.
please.
Let me say we have created these custom roles, and we have to assign these custom roles to thousands of users. We can't really keep selecting each and every user, right? So in that case, do we have any automated scripts to do this assignment using?
No, we have an option of loading the users. They given spreadsheet. In the spreadsheet, you can keep the information users and you can load it. But we don't have any option. But when we talk about assignment, the assignment you no need to do very manually. We have a spreadsheet also. I'll just show you next time when you go to data access for users. There we have a spreadsheet where you can specify the username and the role and the security contest value, which BU you want to assign. That you can,
Yeah, that is actually, I mean, it's more of real time, right? I mean,
yes.
I really want to see in the real world assigning these things for thousands of users manually is definitely not possible. There should be some kind of mechanism.
Yeah, spreadsheet option we have. Okay, that too, like you can do everything like user, role, and do for role which access required for BU or like it's a primary ledger or inventory organization. That I'll just will we can see here, or else let me take you through that.
No, otherwise, if there is any, I mean, if there is any notes or any topic that we can Google or find it out, just let us know. We can, I'll do that.
Yeah, it's not required. The process is simple here. You can just go to data access for users, the task which we use to assign the values to user and user related roles. You can just go to setup and maintenance, and you can go to search, or else you can enter into the project. From project also we can access this task. Say data access for users. And if you want to connect to that spreadsheet, you have to make sure that already you installed ADFDI. Okay. ADFDI just we use for invoice creation, right? Invoice creation and different purposes. That should be there in the application. I mean, in your client system.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. So here we have a authorized data access. So that is spreadsheet. Connect. User is Google.
Yeah, since we are there with this spreadsheet section, I just wanted to quickly raise a point. When I was trying to look up the data, invoice data that I loaded using the conversion, that spreadsheet is opening, but it's not asking me for user and I mean the connection details page. It is directly opening the spreadsheet page. It's not showing me any data. Do you think is there any issue with my laptop settings or what it is? Because
No,
I
no.
did all my conversion, but I got stuck. I couldn't really see the rejections and everything.
No, just here when you talk about spreadsheet, are you talking about the same FBDI related template
Right.
or this ADFDI
Yes.
template?
No, not ADF, FI, FBDI.
FBDI.
Yep.
FBDI, it won't ask for any user, right? It's a offline sheet which you can convert and load into the application, and you can import into base tables.
After
Only,
importing into the base tables, if we want to find out if there are any rejections, we will go to payable rejections, that function, right, in the invoice workbench.
yeah.
And when you open that, even that is kind
Okay,
of
okay.
an Excel,
That
and it
means
asks for
I got it. You are trying to access the data from the interface. Okay, for
exactly.
rejection errors, import errors.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
So is it working with other functions when you try to create invoice?
Yeah, I was able to create the invoices and load the file.
No,
That's what I wanted to ask the other group members if they were able to do it successfully or
no,
not.
no, no. That is that should be that should happen. See, now there is no other point. It's not like it won't work specific to some function. If you are able to create invoices through spreadsheet, and if you are able to load it, that should work with that function also.
ODF, FDI, I didn't really do it yet. I started with my FBDI, file-based data import.
Mhm. Okay, that you are able to do it, but when you are trying to access that import errors and all,
Exactly, because I couldn't see the invoices that I loaded. So obviously, the process succeeded. The status shows concurrent program succeeded, but my invoices, I wasn't able to find them. So definitely, they must have been errored out, right?
yes, yes.
So when I tried to open that, it didn't really ask me for this. Anyway, I did some research, but I couldn't really fix it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll check it. We'll discuss on this definitely. So normally
Yeah.
just in the classes I'd taken through this actual standard process where system was allowing us to do it. Okay, if you are doing in the some different instance, or else just once you do the installation and all, you have to make sure that this Excel options and trust center settings. Hope you did all this, right? Trust center settings where you have to set the macro
Okay.
settings. You have to make sure that these two are enabled. Enable all macros. Trust
Uh,
access to the.
I'll take a look into it. Okay, let me take a look into it.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry. My intention is not to disturb the class. Just go ahead. Let me take a look into it one more time. Okay.
yeah,
Then I'll get back to you
yeah.
with the questions.
Fine. As we discussing about assigning here, this is the option available. Here you can select what you want to assign. Say business unit you want to assign, and these specifications instead of doing everything from the application by clicking on opening LOV, etc. So here from here you can select the data and you can prepare the sheet and that you can submit. Or BU name, select username. Username is Google and role. So when you are dealing with this sheet, you can keep all the roles ready. Then you can copy here and you can do it. Accounts payable manager. That
Whatever the custom role we have created, right?
anything.
Okay.
Anything. This is
Okay.
seeded.
Excellent.
This is seeded, which
Okay.
I just entered. But whatever the
Yeah,
custom
yeah.
not seeded, this is how you can add. You can add one more row here. Okay, you can insert and just
Oh,
add your business. You just contest information you will get from the instance and BU information also. Since this is a online connectivity has with application, the username and the role you can enter. This is how you can just enter everything. Then you can go to authorized data access for users and say upload. This is how you can simplify the roles assignment to the user as well as the BU or ledger access to specific user. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah. That's fine. That's how we can do it. And
Lakshman, I have another question on the roles.
yeah, please.
How do we create a custom security privilege?
Custom security privilege. What exactly like custom security privilege?
I mean the privileges, right? When we were creating the duty role and
custom. Okay. See, that is nothing but new functionality. That is a new privilege.
correct.
If you are working on the SaaS model, you cannot do it. In case of PaaS, the technical team, they can develop that function by using ADF pages. They can create new form, new page that they'll be registering in the application directories. So that would be available in the role definition time. If you want to include into specific relevant role, you can include it. That's how you can get custom one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in case of EBS also we do the same, right? Say when you work on payables, you need some additional form which is not available in the application, which is required by client as per their standard process. In that case, what we do, the technical people, we will provide functional design, right? What fields required and how it should look like, how the information need to be managed. So then will create the MD50 and they'll just prepare MD70 and they'll get ready. They'll get ready with the development and they'll register that form that will be included into specific menu. Okay, if required all the time, or else you may include into the custom menu which you create. This similar way here also it works. Fine.
Okay. And the registration also will be done by the technical team?
Technical only. Even EBS or Fusion, just they'll register and in terms of
Okay,
usage.
any idea where do we register it?
If you go with a PaaS model, they'll give you the PaaS platform as a service. They'll provide the platform, separate platform. Here, platform means the environment which allows you to do the customizations related to privileges, page creations. There we can register. They'll give separate access for that. We will get a separate URL to connect to that. So for the same instance, in that environment, you'll be able to develop and to deploy some new functionalities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Fine. So now invoice approvals, we never tested in this environment. Not sure. What I'll do is, I'll just verify in this environment one time. If it is working better, I'll take you through that in this. Otherwise, I'll show in the different instance. So these approvals and all won't work in all the instances. That is the reason I'm not taking that concept. We can see that invoice approvals tomorrow. I'll test in this. If it is working fine, again, I'll take you through all the setups from the scratch and we'll execute and we'll see how approval will be routed, how it is different from EBS. We'll discuss on that. So
does this also include AME settings?
Yeah. AME got replaced with the BPM, Business Process Management now.
Yeah.
We will discuss those points also. Since I have a doubt on this, see the 50% instances normally the approvals won't work. So with that note, I'm just not trying. I mean, I'm not taking this topic now. I'll test it once in this environment. If it is working fine, we'll proceed with this, or else I'll try to find the right instance. Within that only, we'll just go through all setups and do the execution, how the approvals will be routed, and how we can just approve it or reject it, and we'll understand that. Okay. Fine. So for now, we'll just proceed with the security profile, or say MOAC. Fine. So same like EBS. In EBS also we have this MOAC, which you can call a security profile, which allows us to access multiple organization from single responsibility. When you say organization, that could be operating unit in EBS, or it could be inventory organization or HR organization, That can be any organization, but financials point of view, their organization is simply, you can say, operating unit as per EBS. That means in case of EBS, to have access to multiple operatings from single responsibility, we can use MOAC. Here, not through responsibility. We don't have any concept called as responsibility. We can talk about role. To have access to specific, okay, or selected business units from specific role, if you want to have access, we have to go with the security profile. Say your requirement, if you take current example, current case which we are into, if you go to invoice workbench, we are able to access to multiple business units. Now you can take requirement as you need access to only one BU. You need access to only one BU. If that is a requirement, what you could do is, for each business unit, you can create the separate reference data set that you can associate with each BU at the time of BU creation. Or else, by using the MOAC, you can just implement the solution. So now we have access to multiple business units. Now you can take the requirement as, we need access to only one BU or only two BUs or only three BUs. We'll go with that example and we'll check it. We'll be the same. So now we can take the requirement, you want to give access to this user or other user only for one BU or two BUs. Then how to achieve that, we'll see now. Okay, here everything works based on the role. Here we don't have any responsibility concept, right? Okay, so if you want to, in case of EBS, when I talk about EBS, what we have to do is, first we have to go and create the security profile. And the security profile, whatever we define, like there will group multiple business unit operating units that we assign to responsibility assigned by using the profile option called as MO security profile option. So but here we don't have that profile option concept. It's all about directly we can go and do the mapping. Okay, so for that we have some additional tasks which need to be performed so that we can achieve that. Fine. So when I talk about setups, so here first we have to create the security profile. But here, and one more point, in EBS we have a security profile and a global security profile, right? So we can use the security profile to access operating units within the business group. And when you talk about global security profile, we can access the business units, the operating units across the BGs. But here, for everything, they're given only one task called as organization security profile. With that organization security profile, we can just specify which business units user required access. Okay, here there is no concept of business group also. So directly you can list out, and similar to EBS, we don't have any classification. So the limitation, like their BU wise within the BG or across the BGs, that's how we have in EBS, but here that is not applicable. Okay, so here just openly you can select which BGs, BUs you need access to specific user through specific role. Okay, just first we'll go through the setups here. The similar setups you can find, but slightly different. So first we have to create the security profile. Say create, we call here as a organization security profile. Okay, create organization security profile. Then the security profile we have to map with a role. Okay, so assign. In case of EBS, what we do, the security profile we map with the responsibility. Here we have to map with the role. Assign security profile to role. To test this functionality, we can create the separate user so that we can understand so how that BU access is reflecting in case of new user. You can stop using the current user. We'll go and create the new user. Okay, for current user also we can do it, but for all the roles we have to do it. In case of new user, just we can go with one role. Simply we can test it. We'll go and create the new user. The new user name we provide as a MOAC user, and we have to assign any one of the role to user. Assign role to user, and we have to provide data access for user. The rest of process remains same. Run LDAP, and we'll go with the testing. Fine. So first we'll go and create the organization security profile. Go to setup and maintenance, or you can access to the project. You can just go with the search task. So search for organization security profile, or search for security profile. Anyway, you can find the task. Search with the term called as security profile. So here you could see manage organization security profile. Just click on this task. Say create. Okay. So name we can provide as a Google security profile. Okay, or you can write as Google BU security profile. You can create security profile for many data objects. We may do it for inventory or many other definitions also. Just I'm giving Google BU security profile. So here you can select secure by organization hierarchy or organization classification. Okay, hierarchy we don't have any hierarchy, so we can select this option called as secure by organization classification. In case of EBS, in the LOV you select our classification as a operating unit, then we'll select the value. Similarly we are going to do here. So enable secure by organization classification. Here classification should be business unit. Select classification as a business unit. Now you can list out the business units, one or multiple. So organizations, say secure by organization list. Click on add and list out the BUs. So before we search with a BU name, we have to provide the classification as a mandatory. Business unit. Anyway, you can give the BU name and you should provide classification name, otherwise you can search. So our BU name is Google, right? Search. So you want to give the access to how many BUs? For only one means you can just, this would be enough. If you want to give access to one more BU for specific user for a particular role, you can add one more role. Anyway, now we have access to multiple BUs. Now we'll just find the security profile to give the access to only one BU. So that's all. These are the specifications you have to give here. Then say save and close. Now the next task is mapping. You have to assign the security profile to role. Here, so we discussed in the prior releases, release 11, we have a data roles concept. So at the time, whatever the task Oracle given as a part of instances, the name they didn't change it. So here you could see the name as a data role, but reality that is not a data role. Okay. Here click on assign security profile to roles, or else directly you can go with this. If you click on this, the same it will be showing. Just I'll show you. Click on assign security profile to that role. So it is taking us to manage data roles and security profile. This is not reality, not data role, just role only. Okay, we don't have data role concept in release 12 or 13, but In the very older versions, this is how we have name. Later they just removed data roles concept, but still the name they didn't edit it. Okay, so this is a page. You can just click on assign security profile to roles, or you can use this task. Okay, HCM data role security profile, anyone you can use. Let's proceed with this. Both are same. Assign security profile to role. What are the security profile we created just now that we can assign to specific role, so that from that role user can have access to the BUs, how many BUs we have in the security profile. That's it. Just click on create. Here we can give the name Google 1 BU access. Okay. 1 BU access job role. You want to give access to which role? The 1 BU access you want to provide to which role, that you have to specify. Accounts. So we can just go with accounts payables manager and just click on next. Now we selected role. Now what we have to do? We have to assign that security profile to this role. Role we selected. Now we have to assign that security profile. Just now we created security profile. That profile we have to map with this role. Directly you cannot map. Here there are some additional tasks need to be performed, since the security profile concept is purely related to uh, HCM application related function, which can be used for finance also, right? So person security profile. See here you have a secure by business unit. This is the option we require. If you want to select it, you have to provide person security profile definition also. Okay, that simply you can just create or select existing. Simply you can go and create the dummy definition. Reality that is not required. As a part of this definition, they made it as a mandatory. I'll just give the name as Google. That's it. There is no meaning in that. Okay, and here you can say enable secure by business unit. Yes, business unit wise we want to restrict the access to this role. Fine. And here you can provide person security profile. So just everywhere you can provide simple dummy value. That's it. Google. And your payroll also you can just provide any one of the dummy value. Okay, done. So this is how just you have to give the specification. So primarily this checkbox we have to enable. Since these other fields are mandatory, we are providing some dummy values. So enable secure by business unit. That means we are going to assign business unit security profile to this job role. Now click on next. Okay. Fine. Here some value it's expecting to select. This is a public person and all, not required, but since this is how they designed this function, we have to perform this. Click on next. Fine. Scroll little down. We enabled business unit, right? So here you could see secure by business unit field is enabled. Here you can select whatever the security profile we created. We created security profile as a Google security profile, right? So Google Google BU security profile. Select it. So BU related security profile. So done. And here it's a mandatory how to provide some value. It's all related to HCM related information. So assignment to evaluate. Okay. So you can select all and all, then you can proceed with it. So our target is, for a specific role, we have to assign our security profile that we are achieving by doing this setup. Then click on next. Okay, click on next. Click on next. This one completely payroll and other, it's all about HCM related information, but we are creating the security profile, this mapping for our finance related role. We don't require, but which is mandatory anyway, we have to fill it. Then submit. So now we mapped. Okay, you must select organization security profile by organization. So 1 second, it may be some second option it is asking. Select here, done. Next. Done it. What's wrong? Submit. So you must select an organization security profile to secure web business. That's what we did. You must identify the assignment to evaluate. That also we completed. We'll just go and check it. This is what system is expecting. Public person or not required. When I just selected some different value, that should resolve it. 1 second here. So back. Here we given our security and we given the assignment level. Right, done. So that is only the primary setup which you have to focus. Next, submit. So the next step would be we have to assign this to our user. So user level we have to assign.
Lakshman, security profile can be created for the legal entities too, right? I mean, to restrict the legal entities.
So legal entities, see, legal entity, we don't select anywhere value to create the transaction. So primarily like which object we select for transaction entry. So
no, in the case of multiple legal entities and single, if I want to segregate my transactions per legal entity, in that case, if I wanted to create the security profile by legal entities, like to restrict the legal entities to the users, can we do it?
Not sure whether.
Maybe it's a dumb question.
Yeah, no, just not sure here they given that option or not. Just quickly we'll go and check it. So let's say accounts payable. Maybe even if they give here also, that may be applicable for HCM side. We'll just see that whether that option they're given here or not. But normally the targeted object would be the business unit for us when you're working on financial. Here they're given secured by legal employer. I think this is only for HCM point of view they're given. Okay, the option they're given, okay, where you can secure legal employers, nothing but legal entity, right? So not very sure that they're given for, finance applicable or not. Never tried it. Okay, fine. So just we're done with these two tasks. We created a security profile and we assigned that security profile to specific role. Now that we have to assign to user. Before that, we'll go and create user and we'll assign that role. Fine. Go to security console. So go to user section and say create user. You can give the name as MOAC. Then just click on add role. Okay, we created as a Google 1BU access, right? So this Google 1BU access, what it will do? It will override if your other role is going to have access to multiple BUs. This we assigned. Along with this, within the same, okay, Google 1BU access, which role we have, that also we have to assign to user. Role we have as a accounts payable manager. It's a mandatory, you have to assign it. Now what we'll do is, to this accounts payable manager role, we will go and assign our business unit through data access for users. Without this security profile, if you just assign the BU to this role, from this role, the user can have access to multiple BUs. Because of this security profile, system will override. System will allow this user to have access to only the BUs which are there within this security profile. Okay, we'll see that. Just save and close.
Lakshman, I have a question here. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, please.
We already assigned the role to the security profile, right?
Yes. See.
Then why we have to assign the role again?
See, we have. I have a role called as accounts payable manager, and for that I'll assign the BU called as Google US business unit. If I assign this Google US business unit to this role, this role can have access to how many BUs? Many BUs, right? That's what we are able to access. The reason for this BU, yes, common reference data set is used. Now that we want to override, for that reason we created security profile. So you do this assignment to restrict that assignment with this specification. You have to assign the security along with the security profile. Again, you have to assign it. The simple example which works in EBS and Fusion also. Say you are assigning your primary ledger to responsibility in EBS, by using GL ledger name profile option. What system will do? System will assign when you create the primary ledger, automatically it creates data access set with our ledger name. The data access set it will assign to the same responsibility by using GL data access profile option, right? So we have primary ledger we are assigning, but against that primary ledger which data access set is created, okay, that system will assign. The high priority goes to data access set only, not ledger. Here also the both we have to specify system in the precedence, it will go with the security profile only. They made it as mandatory this process. Okay, so it first it will look at security profile. Is there any security profile? If security profile is there, it will be routed accordingly. Otherwise, it will go with the normal assignment how it is mapped. Okay, we should specify, otherwise it won't work.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. So we're done with this. Yeah. Now we have to go on to.
This is fusion functionality, right?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Functional.
So 1 second, I'm not sure. Yeah, can you repeat your question now?
This security profile as well as the regular role assignment to user is specific to cloud, specific from the cloud financials, not the EBS functionality. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Yes, EBS also we have the same functionality, but their concept is responsibility. Here, see what
right.
Security profile we are assigning to role here. In EBS, security profile we assign to responsibility there. That's all. Okay.
Got it.
Yeah. Fine. Now go to task called as data access for users. So click on add. Our username is MOAC. So we assigned the security profile mapping in the user level that you cannot see from here. Only you can see accounts payable manager. But after creating user that we assigned, that should be assigned. So here you know mapping is required for that reason. That is already mapped with the specific BU through security profile definition, right? So select it and the security contest is BU and you specify the BU name. Google US Business Unit. So save and close. Just submit LDAP job. I think here we tagged as a favorites. Yes. Go to ESS job page. Submit LDAP. Search. Select and save OK. So now we have a security profile for this user related role. So that is the reason just it may take more time for synchronization. So when you have security profile, any custom roles usage, you just consider time also. So the normal seeded roles normally sync most of the time immediately, but these scenarios it may take some time. We can wait and we can just check it.
Lakshman, I have a question.
Yeah, please.
So once we create this security profile and assign it to the role, and then once we assign the role to the users, both the roles to the users, we have to do this data access to the users.
Correct. Yes.
What if we do? What if we skip that step? It can still go ahead. I mean, it will still take the logic from the role, or how does it work?
It won't work.
Okay.
We should do it. Okay. If you complete that based on that, instead of working as per that access, it will override with the security profile. First of all, system should understand the role the user has access to what, how that should be controlled. That can be done through security profile. So normally, even they can implement direct routing also, but we are not sure. That's how they design solution. So in case of EBS, we assign security profile to responsibility, and we'll do that. But still, if you remember, even if you assign the security profile to responsibility, still we'll have a MO operating unit profile option for that responsibility, right? Yes, right. MO operating unit, that should be there.
Yes.
We have as a mandatory, we have to set MO operating unit. Other than that, if you want to just have additional operating units access in EBS, this is additional task which you perform. But primary thing is you have to map your operating unit to your responsibility. In the same way, we are mapping our business unit to specific role. On top of it, we are building the security profile to override.
Okay.
Yep.
And when we were creating this role, the job role, right?
Yeah.
When we're creating a custom job role.
Yes.
In over there, they had users also, right? In one of the fields.
Correct. You can assign.
So how does that?
You can assign.
Okay, if I assign there, then I don't need to assign it in
Not
for the user in the job.
Ultimately, we want to assign the role to user. That you can do at the time of definition, or else you can go to security console and you can search for user and you can click on add role and you can assign. If you assign from there, from here, you could see that.
You can see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
From any one of the user interface, you can assign.
Okay. So okay, and the step which we did right now, the data access to the user, that is an extra step that we have to follow in order to ensure that.
Yes, 2 steps.
Otherwise, the form.
2
yes.
steps.
The one step was assigning the role.
I'm sorry. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, one step was assigning the role to the user in the user form.
Yes.
And the other one is data access for the user.
Exactly. The user assignment you can do.
Okay. What if we skip that data access to the user? Still, the forms will open, right, for the user?
I mean, if you skip that step, forms will open. You won't. Sometimes it won't allow you. Also, depending on which form you are opening, the field is mandatory and all. It won't open that form also. Okay. Normally, BU is mandatory. It won't open. Normally, it throws some error message. Sometimes even it opens, you don't find anything in the LOB.
Okay.
The intention is we want to record the transaction for specific BU, right? So
yeah.
So see, sometimes it will throw some error message. That depending on which page you are opening, how the functionality they written. So some cases even it opens, you cannot perform anything.
Okay. Suppose if I want to give access for one user to multiple BUs, then I have to create that user those many times in the data access for users, right?
One user, only one user will create. For which roles, say for one role you want to give access to multiple BUs, just you create a group all those BUs as security profile. You do that security profile mapping with the same role with the second task which we did, right? So map assign security profile to role, then that you can assign to the specific user and you provide data access.
In the drop down, there we didn't have an option to select the security profile, no?
No.
Did we have? I missed on that. In the data access for the user, did we have an option to select the security profile for the user?
Then we no need to do that. That is the point we are discussing. That is only user level assignment only. Only user level assignment. Now also we did the same. User level we assigned, one is security profile, other one is accounts payables manager we assigned. In case of provide data
Correct.
access, we will see only accounts payables manager to assign specific BU. So
It's either or, is it?
Only one only you can do. Security profile won't come into the list also, not required, because directly already mapping is there inside, right? What else we want to assign to that within the security profile, what we have? Accounts payables manager.
And the business units.
Yeah. Business unit directly, not business unit, security profile.
Correct. Okay.
Within the security profile we have one BU, one or multiple.
Okay.
Right? That's it. That is the reason already everything is just mapped in this security profile. So even if you get security profile here, what you want to map? Nothing. Right?
Correct.
That is the reason. Already the mapping is done. That's the reason they written that programming it should not come in the LOV of this data access for users. So why we are giving within this we have common reference data set we have. So we are assigning this common should be overridden by this security profile. That is the reason this also should be assigned. Then only this will take high priority. It will just allow the user accordingly. Fine. So now we submit.
I did not understand that. So I'm sorry, I did not understand the reason for. What I understand is.
No. See, one point. The user by default, user has a role called as accounts payables manager. That role should have access to so and so BU first of all. Okay, specific business unit. Okay, for specific business unit, the role should have access. So that is a very basic requirement. Now this common will have access to 10 BUs. That means BU creation time we are selecting the common reference data set. Within that, so same common is used by 10 BUs. This point you are clear, right? You attended those sessions. Hope.
Initial sessions I didn't attend. I just joined 2 weeks back.
That could be the reason, like we are finding some gap. So we just these points we discussed. See, the common reference data set is used for 10 BUs means that means this through payables manager the user will get access to 10 BUs. That is depending on reference data set.
Okay.
Now we want to restrict. We want to restrict the accounts payables manager to have access to all the BUs, which BUs, okay, the common reference data set is mapped. To restrict that only, we are just using the security profile. Now what system will do? So it will replace this common with security profile. That means this user will connect to that security profile. That security profile, sorry, this role will get connected to this BU. This BU won't connect to this common. This BU will get connected to this security profile. Within the how many security, how many BUs are there? Those BUs only can be accessed by this payables manager.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how it works. You
security profile will take the
data set concept. Okay. So that may give you understanding on that. Still, if you have any questions, definitely we can discuss.
Okay. The security profile will take the precedence over the data access for user, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Fine, done. Now we can sign out from the current user. See, now if I tell you the statement like the security profile will take the precedence on top of this reference data set, again you will have some questions because you are not sure about reference data set. That is the reason I said yes. Data access on that it will take precedence. Yes. Indirectly, that is true, but reality, it will have a, like, it will override the reference data set, which is associated with the BU.
Okay.
Is it, Lakshman, is it common in the implementations of the client sites using the common RDS when we are defining operating units?
Normally, what we do is when you do in the test environment for conducting CRPs, UATs, or you can call as, I mean, a proof of concept for anything like workshops. So we normally use common only. So
Yeah.
the common will be presenting, then we'll be discussing. This is how you can get the data, some setup data. It will flow across. Okay, whether you need in this way or a different way, that can be decided in the discussions.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
Finally,
That's the
how you
point.
need that will implement in the production.
Right. Right.
So if you go with
Got it.
common, that is very much convenience for us also, right? We no need to
Right.
go multiple times same definition because we are using the different reference data sets.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how. Yeah, that's true. Fine. Now just we'll log into the instance as a MOS user, and this user should have access to only one BU because of our security profile. So go to invoices workbench. I think here create option is not there in that. No problem. You can go to manage invoices. So this user through role, how many BUs you can have access? Click on LOV. Only one BU. Okay. So this is how just we can restrict. Okay, if you group two BUs into that security profile, this user can have access to two BUs. And through data, provide data access, I mean data access for users by using the task. For the one role, you have to assign the two BUs also as an additional activity. So that's how we can do it. That's all about security profile. Just try from your end. If anything is there, we can discuss. Okay. So when you talk about payables, so we just done with the security profile also. We have invoice approvals. Closing may not be two sessions we require. So I guess yes, max we require two more sessions to close the payables. And tomorrow and day after tomorrow sessions we can close with the payables as well as we can start with the P2P cycle also. Okay. So to create invoice through matching, we have to complete the basic setups, inventory organizations, master and actual organizations, and item creations, item classes, purchasing basic setups, and PO and requisition approvals and receipt creation. This is complete process. From inventory side and PO side, we have to complete the basic setups. After completing the basic setups, we can run the complete process. Okay. So within max 4 sessions, we can complete the P2P cycle also, so that we can switch to receivables. In 2 sessions, we can complete AP, and along with AP, like 2 more sessions we require to complete the required setups for entire P2P cycle, including the approvals for requisition, purchase order, and other stuff. The 4 sessions we can close P2P cycle, including tables, all curriculum, whatever I mentioned. So, any questions from today's
Are
session,
we going
please?
to
If no
cover
questions,
invoice approval workflow with the P2P session?
yeah, this is what before that only we'll be covering this invoice approvals.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, fine. So, any questions from anyone, please? If no questions, we can wind up for today. We'll connect tomorrow.
Lakshman, are you going to take 8 o'clock class from today onwards? I think.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to join. That's the reason I asked.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.